On Monday, there are two more games in the Pettit's Senior Hurling Championship, and they're both in Group B. The first one is taking place in Wexford Park at 5 o'clock between the Rapparees and the Shelmaliers. Two teams that have been flying high at the business end of the championship over the last few years. The Rapparees have not been flying high this season, Ed. They've had 2 defeats, whereas the Shelmaliers have had 2 victories.
Yeah, I can't stop thinking about that game 2 years ago in Wexford Park between the two sides. It was a thriller. If you remember, Dylan Redmond scored a last-minute goal to the Raps won by a point in the end, I think it was. But there's been big changes since then to the Rapparees team, and particularly in defence. I think 5 of their 6 backs from that year, County Final team, are not available. So that's obviously going to be a major loss to. Liam Ryan is a serious loss to Wexford, never mind the club team. So, that's maybe why the Raps are not going as well as one would expect them to go. But the Shells are a very serious team, but that game against the Martins, I think, was very poor spectacle, very low scoring. Was it 1-9 to 11 points? One player that impresses me is young Paddy Connors, corner forward.
Yeah.
For a small fella, he's very, very good in the air. And he caught a great ball and set up that goal that day. I think he's a very, very good young player.
Point scoring on the Shelmalier side hasn't been wonderful. They got 11, I know they got 4 goals, but they got 11 points only against the Harriers the first day and 9 points against St Martin's, and yet I suppose they still have 2 wins on the board, Paul.
Yeah, definitely, Peter, because we were at that first match the Shelmaliers fight Harriers won. I think out of the 11 they got, I think they might have only been 3 from play, and it could have been 8 from frees that day.
Yeah.
So
like that,
and probably against the Shelmaliers, I'm sure it's probably only half and half. So yeah, points from play have been a real thorn in Shelmaliers' side this year so far, and it's probably something that when you look at their team, I don't think they really base their game on just scoring points from play. Literally, it's kind of grind you down. They get goals and they make the opposition foul you because they run so hard and direct at you. That literally, we let him off or we foul him, and most of the time the opposition foul him. So they do generate a lot of frees in the way they play hurling.
Yeah.
And then the same again, if you don't foul them like what the Fight Harriers did, they run through for goals instead. So it's a very hard, what do you stop them or do you let them go? So literally, I suppose to be at the business side at the end of it and actually win it, they are going to have to improve, because you're not going to be winning semi-finals and finals scoring 5, 6, 7 points of play. It's just not going to happen. You'll be up against much better defences. But for this weekend's match, like what Ed said, listen, the Rapparees seem to be a long way off where they were a couple of years ago, and mainly due to just players are not there, and we found that ourselves last year. You just can't cope with missing 4, 5, 6 off your first team, and at the moment that's where the Rapparees are. And as much as they're doing their very best with what they have, literally coming up against a very good season Shelmaliers team, I just don't seem having enough to do it with whatever players they have out the field, because listen, it's your defence is what's going to be winning these matches, and you can't put all your best players into defence either. So
you're going to give the nod
I'm just going to give the nod to Shelmaliers. I just think they're a better team overall at the moment than you.
And you're...
Yeah, I just think the Shelmaliers will get goals against the Raps, especially in Wexford Park. I think they will. It's like, James Pear, Ben Edwards, Dylan Redmond, Liam Ryan, they're fantastic club defenders, and I think Shells will get goals against this current Raps team.
Yeah, and I think the Shells will win the game as well. And the final game of the bank holiday weekend is St Martin's and the Fight Harriers. At the moment, both sides have 1 win each on the board. Ed, what do you think?
Yeah, look, it's been billed as the battle of the top 2 in Wexford. Rory O'Connor and Lee Chin, and whichever one of them shoots the lights out most, will win the game. But the Harriers were very impressive against Aldgate, and Richie Keogh, what a hurler! 20. He's playing adult hurling for 20 years now for the Harriers. So it was nice to see him playing so well the last day. And the fantastic hurlers as well. Young Richie Lawler is starting to come good now after a poor start against Shelmaliers, and I got into the game against Aldgate in the second half. And young Luke Murphy, there's some brilliant young players as well. But of course the Martins are the Martins, and if they hit form, it's very hard to stop them. It'll be interesting to see, will Jack O'Connor be okay to start this Monday?
Paul, we did that first round game between the Shells and the Harriers, and I was impressed enough with the Harriers. They just let in, I suppose, a few sloppy kind of goals. They could realistically have 2 wins on the board if they had got a bit better luck in round 1.
Oh yeah, and I know I picked up there and just Richie, but Richie wasn't playing that day, and it's probably fair to say, I think if Richie had been centre back that day or full back, one of the positions, I don't think the Shells would have got the 4 goals. And listen, he's back and he's hurling very well. And yeah, St. Martin's, there. Listen, you have Rory, you have Jack, sure, there's a few other fellas as well. But at the moment, they're another team. I just don't think that they're hitting the heights that they could be. Like, they have their win on board, but as I said, like, Clebon gave them every bit of it for 50-55 minutes. They didn't go as well as I thought they should have against the Chevaliers in the last round. It's just like, to have so many good attacking players at the moment, they don't seem to be playing well as an offensive team. Like,
you'd have to wonder how a panel of top class forwards that St. Martin's have would only be capable of scoring 11 points in a championship match.
Yeah, I think the warning signs were there against Levon though, Peter.
Yeah.
Rory O'Connor got 115 out of 118.
Yeah.
You know, and as you say, with the players to have, like, I love watching Darren Cott hurling. He's a very good player, you know. But they all, Jack Devericks was very good that night as well. But they all need to contribute. All the great teams, the Owlets, the Rathnures and the Alleys, all their forwards were scoring, and scoring freely. So, you know, this is a problem that the Martins have, you know.
now it is a new management team, admittedly, just say for St. Martin's, sure. I mean, so I'd probably give them the benefit of the doubt that hopefully they'll have whatever maybe offensive deficiencies ironed out by this round. But at the moment, based on what I've seen so far, I just think the Fight Harriers are slightly better at the moment. And so listen, Lee Chin, same thing again, the Lee Chin factor, he is getting plenty of scores for Fight Harriers, but they're getting scores elsewhere as well at the moment. And probably it's, as you say, you have the Rory against Lee factor, but I just think what the Fight Harriers are getting off the rest of the boys other than Lee Chin is a little bit more than what St. Martin's are getting off everybody other than Rory O'Connor. So for that reason, I think the Harriers will over this by a point or two.
And who do you give the nod to?
Oh, well, I have to go for the Martins because a few weeks ago I tipped them to win the championship, so I have no other choice, only go for the Martins.
And I'm going to go for the Martins as well to bounce back from a poor performance the last day.